place with no misery, in a land meant for you and me. My foot can't find no ease. Oh, the air that I breathe, that I breathe, that I breathe, that I breathe. This place is trying to kill me. Just wanna find some peace. Every day, same old thing. Brothers on the corner begging for some change. This life has got to be rearranged. Tell me what's going on. Who can explain? My foot can't find no ease. Oh, the air that I breathe, that I breathe, that I breathe.
Shalom, my name is Dawah, Bayn, Yisrael. I'm your host for this segment of the Yisrael Hour. This is a live call-in show. Number is 312-738-1845. That's 312-738-1845. Today I was supposed to have a guest with me. Actually, there's supposed to be three of us. There's two. There was supposed to be two guests today. Mr. Lennox McGee from the Red Eye, who is a contributor. He writes columns. I read his article in my last show, and he called me with an interest to come on the show today, but for some reason he is not here, so we still will continue to roll on. Hopefully he's looking, and maybe he can call in and contribute to the conversation. But yeah, we're speaking of homosexuality from a homosexual's perspective, and it's very interesting topic. I also have to revisit a show that I did back in 2007. But before I do that, I want to introduce my co-host, Queen T.
Hello, peace.
Peace, peace. How you doing?
Peace. I am wonderful.
And
absolutely
you're
wonderful.
From where?
Phoenix, Arizona.
And you're a native of Chicago, right?
Yes. Yes, I am. Born and raised here.
Okay.
Yes.
So why don't you tell the little people about what you do?
Wow. What don't I do? I am a publisher, website designer, talk show host, radio talk show host. Well, I have a lot of things that I do, but my main thing right now is the publishing and the talk show host. So I have my own talk show, radio talk show in Phoenix called Zuri Speaks.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I know, I've been on there several times.
You are there quite often.
Yes, yes indeed. And as far as not designing websites, you design mine.
Yes.
Beautiful website.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Would you please tell the people where they can find it at, what the address is?
His address is yaisrael.com.
Right, exactly.
Yaisrael.com.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, you have some experiences. I don't want to talk about them right now, but you have some experiences that that can, I guess, add validity to what we're talking about. You know, you can speak to this pretty well because some of the things you've seen from your experiences, which we will talk about after we see this clip.
Okay.
I want everybody to know this is a clip from a show that most people probably don't even remember. Those of y'all have been watching the show or following the show since way back in 2007. I'm going back to 2007 and I'm revisiting a show that I did back then. And it was me, a brother named Sherman, and a sister named Wanda Muhammad. I didn't want to do the show because the individual, the brother that was on the show, was some things that was going on with him that I really didn't agree with, but I'm glad I did the show because now I see why this particular topic is so, I guess I'm so much into it, so dedicated to speaking against it. He spoke 5 years ago to some things that we've seen now. They have exploded, the homosexual scene, especially in the so-called black community. I know some people probably say, I talk about this a lot, but as I say all the time, if we're not producing, men are not being with women, then we have a serious problem. So I want to take this time to go to this clip. I want you all to look at this clip, then we're going to come back and I'm going to get into the sister and what it is that she does and how she can speak to the issue as well. We'll take a look.
In places like in the Arctic, where indigenous people sometimes might hunt a wolf, they'll take a double-edged blade and they'll put blood on the blade and they'll melt the ice and stick the handle in the ice so that only the blade is protruded and that a wolf will smell the blood and won't.
Shalom. This is Israel Return to Yah. I am Dawah Bayn Yisrael, your host, and my co-host to my left is Sister Wanda Muhammad, and I have a guest here, Brother Sherman. And first of all, the title of this show is Transformation from Man to Woman and Back. Brother Sherman here is our guest, and Brother Sherman is going to introduce himself and tell you a little bit about himself. Go ahead, brother.
Yeah, my name is Sherman Fisher. I'm from, of course, LaGrange, Illinois, 24. Basically, I'm here to let you know that there's freedom from homosexuality. That's basically it. Let you know that there's a way out. I made it out.
Okay. Sister Wanda, you have some questions you want to ask, brother?
Yes. First of all, thank you very much, Brother Sherman, to come and share your personal experiences with us. As you know, I host I don't host, but I produce a show for teens called Shaping Young Minds, and I'd very much like to bring your story to them on our show. So my first question is, in your opinion, do you feel homosexuality is a lifestyle choice, or is it something that occurs at birth?
I feel like it's both. From birth, it can easily be a generational curse. You can be molested in your home. You can be raised up where you have two parents that can be involved in homosexuality. You can see this image daily, and it can be something that's just normal. And if you're faced with it, you can definitely develop into it. And as far as it being a lifestyle, if you associate with homosexuals, if you just put yourself around people like that, you can easily be turned on to it, and the internet and different types of ways. You can make it your lifestyle.
I see. So you're now a heterosexual male?
Yes, I am.
Yes, sir. And has this been a difficult transition?
At first, transitioning wasn't easy because I was trying to figure it all out myself and wanted to escape, but I prayed about it, and I always asked the Lord when I was younger if this wasn't a lifestyle that He wanted me to be in, somehow take me out of it. And He did when I was 20, and I've been free since then, and just read my word and just renewing my mind every day. In spite of whatever else I'm going through, I know that it's His way or no way.
Yes, sir.
Now, you had an operation, right?
Yeah, I did have breast implants before, and I had them removed when I was 21.
When did you get them?
I got them at 18 in Guadalajara, Mexico.
Now, was that an expensive surgery?
Not in Mexico. It was about $5,000, which wasn't that expensive at the time.
Do you know how much it would cost here?
Yeah, wow. Well, now it's a lot more inexpensive. You could probably get them from $3,500 to $8,000 or more, depending on the surgeon you go to.
Now, you've had them removed since then, you say?
Yes, I have.
21?
At the age of 21, yes.
So you got it at, what age you say you got it?
18.
18, so you had about 3 years?
Yeah, no, like 2.5.
2.5. Okay. Go ahead, sister.
Can you share with our viewers a little bit more about your life during that time, those 3 years?
Sure. Well, like I said, I grew up, when I was young, I started from there. I always thought I was a girl. And when I got a little older, around 13, guys started actually approaching me like I was a girl, and I was a little boy. But they kept saying, hey, little girl, hey, girl, you know, guys off the street. And then I was approached with a situation, and that's when I had my sexual encounter when I was 13 by a guy who apparently thought I was a girl by some strange reason. And then I left my foster home, which I was in at the time, moved to a group home, developed more around more guys in a setting like that where I felt feminine. I isolated myself, ran away from there. Then I hung around a lot of transgender community, which is out at nighttime, usually soliciting and stuff like that. At the time, I wasn't into that. I just had a lot of friends that were involved in that lifestyle. And eventually, I had a girlfriend of mine that introduced me to the internet. And she told me that I could, you know, make money to get implants and get stuff like that, so I could, you know, be the woman that I wanted to be at that time in my life.
I see.
And I got on the website with her, and I met a lot of guys. Some of them wasn't really sexual encounters. Most of it was like wanting to just experience what a transsexual was, be in the presence of one, and then take it further if that was up to me. But it was money that I gained in order to further my appearance. So I wanted to have implants and a lot of other procedures that I didn't go through with because it was in Mexico and I didn't trust them like that.
So you could have went even further and transitioned
Yes, most
into a female.
definitely, most definitely.
And at that time, that's what you felt you were, female?
Definitely, my whole entire life. I was very soft-spoken. I always had girlfriends, and especially after the guys kept approaching me, you know, self-acceptance. It was more like, okay, they say I'm pretty, they say I'm a girl, and I've always felt this way, so maybe I can be this. And this was before I knew about a RuPaul or even knew the transsexual existed. I always felt that there was a way that I could do this without people knowing it, because I had dated guys and never had sex with them, and they never knew anything about me. I honestly met their families, never knew anything. So I felt like I could make this life for myself, and I did do it for from 13 to 21. I did it for a very long time.
Now, you spoke about a generation curse.
Yes.
Can you elaborate on that?
When I speak of generational curses, I mean something that's in your family history. Like my uncle, he died of HIV, and he was homosexual. And I'm sure there was molestation going on in their family. In my family, I got molested by family members. So it came down to me and my brothers. And, well, they don't really, I don't know if they really are open about that. But for myself.
Like I said, I used that clip from 2007. That was 5 years ago. And we've seen an explosion in homosexuality here in this city and probably abroad since then, especially since the inception of Barack Obama, the so-called first black president. But I want to ask the Queen, what do you think about what we just saw?
So-called first black president. Wow. There is an explosion, and even in Phoenix, I mean, it's like you almost feel like if you are heterosexual, you're a minority. You're no longer the majority. It's just so many of them. It's like a fad, I guess you would say. You know, like the new shoes that come out. Everybody gets a pair of the shoes. Now it's like everybody, you know, the homosexual is out, so everybody gets a piece. You know, if you're not even participating in it, then you're not really normal anymore. That's the feeling that I'm getting, because everybody, I'm not gonna say everybody, but a lot of places I go, I do run across many of them, and they're very happy at being it. You know, they're very happy at being gay. I had an opportunity to, and I call it opportunity because I had no idea why I was working in the prison system in Phoenix, but I had an opportunity to meet a lot of them coming out of there, and they didn't come in that way, but they left out that way.
They didn't go in that way?
No.
What are the age ranges?
Well, I worked at level 5, I worked at a level 3 and a level 1. You had to be 18 years old to come there. Across the street, and by the way, I worked at the Phoenix male facility and the female facility. And you, across the street was the juvenile home. So once you turn 18, they bring you across the street where we were. And so 18, you come in, and a lot of the guys were scared, and rightfully so.
So they didn't come in that way.
In my opinion, they didn't.
Right.
Because I was an intake officer, and I talked to a lot of the guys who came in. Yeah.
Okay, so why don't you elaborate on some of the things that you experienced?
Well, I didn't see any acts. I'm so glad about that. But just talking to the guys, because I was more of a personable correctional officer, a lot of the guys like talking to me like a big sister. They missed that, you know, the female type of bond, and they would talk to me. And so I pretty much got to understand that majority of them were molested as children. And this was a lifestyle. They like to say they were born that way. But I think they say they're born that way because they don't understand that as a child you're introduced to this type of lifestyle. So of course in your mind you're thinking that this is how it's supposed to be. So you say, I'm born that way. But talking to the men, it seems to me like, I know, for instance, there was two, I say they were about 20 years old, I would think, and they were very flamboyant. They just did the yard. Everybody knew these two guys, and they were brothers. When I mean brothers, I mean they were black guys. And I was talking to them one day, and one of the guys told me, he said, you know, I don't really want to be this way. And I said, why are you this way? He said, because God doesn't love me. And that, you know, that kind of shook me, because they go through this whole lifestyle of thinking that, you know, especially if you're molested, you're thinking that, you know it's wrong, but it's like, okay, I know it's wrong, but then God doesn't forgive me, so I'm going to keep doing it. That's what he told me. I saw men coming in who actually had the breast implants, like the gentleman was talking about. They had the implants. They came in and they still had them, and they threw them in a population with the men. You know, a lot of the guys there, and I'm not saying all of them, I'm going to say a lot of them, they actually have homosexual relationships. But there is a rule of thumb, I guess you would say, 6 to 8 months before you get out, if you stop having sex with a man, then you're not considered homosexual. So a lot of them come out, and you ask them, are you homosexual? They say no, because technically, if you stop having sex with a man, you're not homosexual before you get out.
Okay, now these men have lady friends. We call them girlfriends, wives.
Wives, yeah.
So describe how that works when their wife comes to see them, and what happens after they leave. And all that kind of stuff.
I also worked the visitation. I worked the whole prison system, so I pretty much know, you know, all the different areas. But I worked the visitation, and the wives will come in every Saturday, every Sunday, visit their husbands, their boyfriends, and we didn't allow them to touch. They couldn't kiss their wives, they couldn't hug their wives, anything. But I will let them do it, because what man can't hug and kiss his wife? But when the men would leave, they would go back to their boyfriends. And so I feel kind of bad, because I'm knowing this, and I'm watching them come in. It's like they do. They start walking towards, you know, the doors to go see their wives. They have to straighten up, and then they go and visit their wives, their children, and then when that's over, they walk back to their man. Now they're back being, you know, the femininity comes out. It's a sight to see. It really is. And it upset me, because you want to tell the sisters, look, especially the sisters. I was like, oh my goodness. I just wanted to say something, but how do you do that? How do you do that? A lot of those men need, even though they're having these relationships, they still need the female to show up and show them love, and, you know, they can't get affection, but at least talk to them, and, you know, things like that. But it was hard to do. It was hard to watch. It was very hard to watch.
Okay. I'm going to take a little time before I get to the phones. I know people on the phones. Just hold on. I'm just trying to lay a little groundwork before we get to the phones. But I have a memorandum here. It's called the Jaffe Memorandum. Jaffe Memorandum. Everybody out there needs to get a copy of this in its entirety. People wonder why I keep talking about this stuff. Oh, this is not important. Why do you keep talking about it? I'm telling you, this was in 1969, 3/11/1969. Listen to what it says. Memorandum to Bernard Burleson. President of Population Council, found in activities relevant to the study of population policy for the U.S., 3/11/69, by Frederick S. Jaffe, who was the Vice President of Planned Parenthood, World Population. Now, you all know that Planned Parenthoods run rampant through so-called black communities. What I'm trying to tell you here is that this was a government set up. You all think that, okay, well, it just so happens that rappers are talking about homosexuality, that Obama has came on the scene and he's endorsed it. Jay-Z, Janelle Monáe, Alicia Keys, John Legend, 50 Cent, Al Sharpton, Jesse Jackson. You have all these individuals, a lot of radio personalities, Steve Harvey. These people are jumping on the bandwagon. But this was all set up in 1969. I wasn't even born then. This has been government issue passed down that they were going to, listen to this, restructure family. A, postpone or avoid marriage. B, alter image of ideal family size. Compulsory education of children. Encourage increased homosexuality. Educate for family limitation, fertility control agents in water supply. Listen to this. Fertility control agents in the water supply. Now, there's a movie called 3 the Hard Way. If you can get it, get a hold of it. You can't get it, get in contact with me. 3 the Hard Way. It had Fred Williamson, Jim Kelly, and I think it was, I cannot remember the other, okay, I think the brother who played in Shaft. I can't think of his, Richard Roundtree. Those 3 were in it, I believe. And it was back in the 70s, early 70s. They was talking about water supply and how the government was trying to poison the water supply in the so-called black community. This is no joke. This is real talk. Encourage women to work also. This thing is deep. I'm not going to read all of it, but it's called the Jaffe Memorandum. This is government issue. Obama was placed in there with a phenotype that looks like ours, meaning your facial complexion, in order to draw us in to accepting something that we have not accepted as a people. That's what I'm trying to tell y'all. This is no joke. I'm not just sitting here doing TV shows and running my mouth. This is serious. The government, your government, the one in whom people like Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton tell us to go and vote for what? They've already set the premise. They want to increase homosexuality. Now it's everywhere. In all of the media, radio personalities, rappers, singers, dancers, you name it, talk shows, it's everywhere. It's permeated every part of so-called black society, which is the society I'm concerned about. And it is a ridiculous thing. Now I'm going to take some time to go to the phone lines. Go ahead. Caller, go ahead.
Yeah, good morning to you, Brother Juan. Good morning to your guest.
Peace,
Brother Juan, you is right. The preachers, homosexuals, and some of these preachers, and some of these politicians, and some of these rappers, and what about Mount Roddy Mayer and Gary Cotton and Al Perez? What about them? They probably be homosexual too, and you're doing a good job. Keep up the good work, Brother Juan.
Appreciate that, Brother James. Next caller.
Yeah. Shalom, brother.
Shalom.
Look here. It's another document. It's another document was put out in 1970 called "Blacks Removed or Recycled." It was by W.E. Skinner. He was a psychologist and a master mason. It said about the year 2000, blacks should be recycled or removed, whatever the Joplin study had put out. This psychologist, this deep psychologist, said blacks should be removed, and this is the cycle of it. It is to change it, change us, change our attitude and everything else, and that is to confuse us.
Okay, thank you, brother, for your call. Next caller.
Yes, shalom, brother.
Shalom.
I just want to thank you for such a beautiful show today. You know, I was studying criminal justice in college, and they had told me, this black teacher had told me, the prisons were not to rehabilitate a man, but to have him to come back out and be half of a man. And I got so angry with my teacher, I got very outraged. I'm like, what? And he said, you're going to, as life goes on, if you live to see it, you're going to know what I'm talking about, sister. And what the sister is saying is correctly the honest-to-God truth. We need to get laws changed in these prisons, because I read an article about this Muslim. He could not eat pork. So what he did, he had a lot of Muslim brothers to come together to change that law. We need to try to go into these prisons, since the majority of us are in there, and get some of these laws changed. When a brother go in prison, he should not be allowed to go into a gay population. This is getting to be an outrage, and like the caller just said, it's to confuse us and make us not a people anymore. That is their goal. They don't want black people around. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, Queen. Now, I've never actually been behind a prison wall. I just went to visit a relative I had in prison, so I never got a chance to go inside and see. Do they really make a lot of what we see, like clothes and shoes and TVs and all that stuff? They make all that stuff?
Yeah, I haven't seen the TVs, but they do make a lot of the things that we use today on the street. They make, of course, license plates, of course, but like gazebos, I guess they call them the jumbo gym, or the gyms that the children play on, the wood, made out of wood. They make those. They ship them out to different stores, Costco, Walmart. You know, just they make pretty much everything, especially in Phoenix. They use the inmates for a lot of things. A lot of things. Even to work businesses, they use the inmates. When you're calling into government businesses, you don't know that you're actually talking to inmates.
Say that again.
When you call into a government business, like a driver's license place, you're actually talking to inmates. Level 1 inmates.
And our people are under the impression that there really is crime fighters out here, people who are actually fighting crime or whatever. My point is, what I'm trying to say is, we've been under this impression that there's a justice system and that they want to stop crime. But it's impossible. If they're behind the prison walls making everything we use out here, that's free labor. How much do they get paid?
The highest I've seen, maybe about $3 or $4 an hour. $3, something like that, an hour. The prison system is set up just like the world. I mean, they have everything. They got schools, they got libraries, they got stores, barber shops, you name it. You don't have to leave the prison system for anything, because it's like a little city in there. The only difference is that you have to deal with all these different men. I want to say this is my opinion. I believe that the system is really set up for us as black people. They don't care if they have to lose some of theirs to destroy us, okay? What kind of place can you send somebody where you will punish them not to have a female around? It has to be a setup. You can't lock up a brother for 12 years and then say, okay, but you can't have any female contact, but you can't be gay. It doesn't make any sense. Black men, they have to have that affection from the woman. They have to have it. So when you punish them, you catch them selling dope, you know, and you give them 10 years. That's 10 years you telling them, no, you can't see your wife. You can't touch your wife. You can't kiss your wife. That's unbelievable. It cannot, you can't do that. It's not natural. I mean, if you're going to punish somebody, you already got them locked up. They can't really, you know, be around their family, but they can't touch their wife either. That's a setup to me.
I agree. A setup by a natural homosexual. The white man is naturally homosexual.